to Good Gas Mondays for this week. I'm Krystal Tomlinson, and if you're just joining us for the first time, this is our weekly Instagram talk show where we take an opportunity to share some good vibrations and some positive energies before we go into the week. I do it for the persons who've been following the series for about a year and a half now, but I also do it for myself because there are days when I do need to refocus and recenter. So Good Gas Monday serves me, it serves you, and hopefully a lot more people as time goes on. So we had started a previous live a couple of minutes ago. I got disconnected because a phone call came in, and then I couldn't see the camera anymore, so I wasn't sure if it was still on. So I started a new one. But what we're talking about today is fear, and it's linked into my book, which is going to be launched next month. I remember mentioning it a couple of weeks ago, and somebody asked me what the title was, and I wasn't able to share yet. Because, you know, we have timelines that we have to share these things. I have to clear certain things before you start to talk about it. So the title of the book is Kill Fear, The Art of Courageous Living, and we're focusing on the 4 major fears that prevent people from living a life of excellence, from taking action on their dreams and passions, from remaining consistent, from showing up in their lives. And I don't want you to think of it as fears like your fear of lizard, your fear of spider, your fear of the dark, your fear of germs. I mean fears that you battle with in terms of your perception of self, the perception you have of your capability to do something and do it well, and also how you think others view you. And there are 4 top fears that really guide how we will see ourselves, and how we believe others will see us, and that affects what we do and how we do it. So the book really explores what those 4 fears are, where they come from, and of course how to kill them. Now, before I'm able to launch and whatever, there's some things that I wanted to get from the viewers, and I started on Instagram because this is really where a lot of the conversations and information about fear came to me. I've gotten people who send DMs, people who send emails, people who even drop it in comments that they are afraid of doing certain things because of X, Y, or Z. And then there are people who've said to me that they have now started to do certain things. They used to be afraid of something, and they probably saw an Instagram live, saw an Instagram post, saw a video, and suddenly didn't feel so afraid anymore, and it gave them some courage to jump in and start a new business, to start a new relationship, to end a bad one, to apply for a job, to leave a job. And it's amazing how many of those reports and testimonials of success and excellence have that word fear in it. You know, I used to be afraid of this. You know, my biggest fear was that this was going to happen if I never do this, or if I did this the wrong way, and I took a chance on myself, and this is the result. So this book is really coming based on conversations in this social media space, and again, my own experiences with fear. Like, what are some of the things that I'm afraid of, and every single day may have to kill the fear, or I never get anything done. So there's something I wanted to share with you guys, because I killed a fear this year. Now, and you guys can decide how you're gonna share it back with me, because you have to share something with me, right? Me, I share with you, me expect you to share something with me. When I was in high school, I was deathly afraid of numbers. I'm not very sure where that fear came from, but personally, I thought that I was incapable of doing anything mathematical. So math classes, I wouldn't even try, right? I would go in there, sit in the back of the class, distract myself, because as far as I'm concerned, math's enough for me. I'm not gonna ever get it, so I might as well forget about it. So I never make no attempt at all. Maths homework, and if I know the easiest maths homework, I not do it. Like Pythagoras theorem, them couldn't get me submit no assignment for that, because me and the triangle never ever work out. I think where I really stopped consciously in math is, I think it's called transposition, where you move stuff over the equal sign, like 3x plus y equal blah, 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 what is so and so and so. That is really where them lose me in a maths class, right? After me start carry stuff over the equal sign, that was the last straw for me. They moved to the triangle, and me just said no. That the radius conversation there, so enough for me. The type of people who are planning to do physics and build airplane and launch shuttle and them something. Me don't even understand that. So I really zoned out at the end of 4th form. But you know, math was mandatory. So even if I didn't like it, I don't like it, you have to do it. Government pay for it, you have to sit exam. And of course, you couldn't matriculate anywhere without your math and your English. So I had us to do the maths exam. Enrolled in an after class on Saturdays. I was at Manchester High at the time. And there was this great math teacher who taught at Bel Air High School. I forget his name now, but he did his math classes at Bel Air. I went there, he brushed me up because me don't not pay attention already, but me to go to see if me can grab nothing before the exam. And funny enough, right? I got a 3 in math. Now, for those of you who are bright sparks and get 1, right? Worse, the summer who will get distinction. The one who will get 2. God bless you know, right? That was never my ambition. I never even thought I was going to get a 3. You know, the math exam set up when them tell you, say, you must answer 1 question in section A, all questions in section B, either question 6 or 7 in section C. I'm going to answer any question me could answer. Me never care what kind of instruction them give me. If I answer 1 question in section B, right? And I can't answer none, I move on to question section C, I answer everything over this way I can answer. If I answer all in question A, I only say 3 I could answer, I do my best for the 3 and move right along. I never follow no instruction for the paper there. See it, right? And when me done do what me could do, full of booklet, raise my hand, I'll come out. Now, I thought that I was certainly going to get, I think at the time was a U, an ungraded or something, whatever they call it, where you did so poorly that they didn't bother give you a grade. So I was already preparing myself to resit my mentally in January. When the exam grades come, I got a 3. When the guy, because the person who was in the staff room was handing you your forms, so I'm asking for us to look for mine first before him tell me and tell me which one I feel, right? I'm telling him to look for maths first and tell me if they even write it on the paper as a subject. And he said, yeah man, you get math. I said, you get 3 of me. He said 3. I said, check the name on the top of the slip because I know mine. There's no way me could have passed that. And he said, yes, Krystal Tomlinson. You got math and you got a 3. Gladder than me you couldn't find. No other one never so important in that moment, but the maths and the 3 what me get. So of course, I never gonna push my luck and try to do it better in January. If God give me a 3, it's a blessing because me never think me I get nothing at all. And of course in 6th form, I did no math subjects. I tried my hand at econ in unit 1. And then I realized that the graph them and them something there, I see a maths and line and angle, bye-bye. I'm not in it. I never do it back in unit 2. And I settled on much of the subjects that you would categorize in the arts and social sciences. So sociology, law, literature, of course, Carib studies, com studies. I think there's another one I'm missing. History. So those were my subjects. Now, when I was in 4th form, there was another subject I ran away from because it was math. Remember, I'm afraid I know, but I have to do the mathematics exam. But there was also accounts, and at the time NCB paid for accounts and principles of business for all students who were sitting those exams. My mother was great at accounting. She kept insisting that I do it. You know, she was willing to help me go through the assignments and the balance sheet and the homework and them something there. But my brain blocked off. They gave you the subject to do in 4th form, and depending on how well you did, you could carry it into 5th form for CXC. Me and accounts class never that work out. That class they didn't even bother go, right? Because me know some could have choose not to do it. POB, shut it up. Accounts, teacher not see me. Me couldn't understand the difference between DR and CR, and me really couldn't understand why me couldn't just add up everything and say this is how much money I have and subtract everything and say this is how much money we spend. You have to put it in this your column, and you have to have cash book, and you have to have this your ledger, and you have to have this too much work. Too much work. I mean I plan to do nothing in the maths area. So I didn't go to that class. Avoided accounts like the plague. And this year I said to myself, you know what? This fear I have of numbers at a time when I am running my own business, managing accounts, like literally business accounts separate from personal accounts, drawings, managing checkbooks, doing my own personal budgeting and cash flow. I said, you know, I have to conquer this fear that I have of numbers and of accounts. It doesn't serve me to go into the business space and not even have an understanding of the principles of accounts, like literally. So even when I had my own consultation with Kenisha Mays, and for those of you who've been following me for a while, Kenisha Mays is somebody I've used for several of my webinars and training sessions and things like that. She helped me to design a budget and cash flow system for my personal life. So I've been using that. And when we had our first few consultations, she was using these accounting terms and, you know, put on the debit side and put on the credit side and this balance off and this and I was just like, Kenisha, keep it simple. Addition and subtraction and multiplication, because that is where my brain stopped. And after that, I started to, you know, use the cash flow document and put in my thing and track my spending and all those wonderful, lovely things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do accounts. And so I got myself an accounting tutor in about, when was it? I think March of this year. March or April of this year. No, it would have been before. It was last year, October, September, October. So whenever the school year starts, a teacher, he teaches at St. Andrew Technical High School, one of the best accounting teachers that we have. His name is Andre Roberts. And I asked him, are you willing to do private sessions with me 2 nights a week, 2 hours each night, and just walk me through this accounts thing and preparing for the exam? And he said, okay. So from September to April, May-ish, I was doing my accounting classes. Difficult? Yes. But at this point, I would have been a little more mature now in the conversations of finances. So I grasped those principles a lot quicker. And in May, I went and I sat my principles of accounts CSEC examinations. Confronted this fear I had, this notion that I was inadequate in the field and that I would only be great at subjects like history, law, sociology, and you understand? Sat the exam. Got my results. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have accounts as one of the CSEC subject them. No, let me tell you my grade. The grade is better than math, but it's not better than my English grade. I got a 2 in accounting. So, not that anybody cares at this point because they stopped a note resume with CXC passes long time. But in my head now and in my consciousness, I have murdered a fear of numbers and I have my CXC grade for prove it. So, that feeling of overwhelm